Alchemy. When you hear this word, what comes to life in the dark corners of your mind? Probably dim, damp underground cellars, moisture seeping through stone walls, dusty tables illuminated by flickering candlelight, colorful, toxic vapors rising from boiling cauldrons, and among that smoke, elderly men with eyes burning with obsession, murmuring incomprehensible words as they stare at ancient parchments in their hands. History books and popular culture have always portrayed them this way. They told us they were charlatans dreaming of turning lead into gold and getting rich. They said they were mad sorcerers who believed in the superstitions of a pre-scientific age. They lumped them together with the fantasy scenes of Harry Potter films and the magic wands of fairy tales. But let me tell you a secret. History told us a great lie. We are mistaken. And we are very, very mistaken. Alchemy was not a simple form of magic, nor a tool for getting rich. Alchemy was the boldest, most passionate, most dangerous, and perhaps the most tragic scientific endeavor humanity had ever attempted. They were the ancestors of modern chemistry, modern medicine, metallurgy, and even quantum physics. They were science's rebellious adolescents. In those dark laboratories among explosions and the stench of heavy metals, they were not merely brewing potions. They were pursuing something far greater, far more terrifying. They were trying to decipher the source code of the universe. They wanted to intervene in matter as created by God and redesign it. Today, we open the door to those dusty cellars. We lift the veil of magic that has covered them for centuries and look at the naked truth beneath it. Science. If you are ready, meet the forbidden father of science, the true face of alchemy. Everything began with a single sentence. At the foundation of this thousands of years-long search, the sweat spilled and the fortune spent, lay an ancient mystery. Legends take us to the scorching sands of Egypt thousands of years ago. There, we hear of a legendary figure named Hermes Trismegistus, both king, priest, and sage, and of a mysterious legacy he left to humanity, the Emerald Tablet. According to legend, engraved upon this tablet made of emerald was the ultimate secret of how the universe works. For alchemists, this tablet was a sacred text, but the most striking phrase upon it consisted of just a few words. That which is above is like that which is below, and that which is below is like that which is above. In Latin, quod est superius, sicut quod est inferius. This was not a simple rhyme. It was the very essence of the alchemist's worldview. But what does this sentence tell us when we look at it through the lens of a physicist? It was the most poetic expression of the idea that the universe has a fractal and holographic structure. Think of it this way: the vast system formed by enormous planets, stars, and galaxies, the macrocosm, operates by the same rules as the invisible microcosm, the smallest building blocks of matter. Recall the classical atomic model we learn in modern physics classes. A nucleus at the center, with electrons orbiting around it. Isn't that just like a sun at the center, with planets revolving around it? The alchemists, in an age without telescopes or microscopes, had intuitively grasped this connection. To them, understanding the heavens meant understanding the earth. The movement of stars influenced the formation of metals. Matter was not a dead, cold, lifeless mass, as we often imagine today. To the alchemists, matter was alive. It had a soul. It breathed. They viewed mineral veins deep within the earth, like a mother's womb. Metals to them were embryos growing, developing, and maturing within that dark, warm womb. And this is precisely where the art of alchemy entered the picture. The alchemist was the one who intervened in nature's slow and patient process. When we think of alchemy, gold immediately comes to mind. The greedy men we see in films, turning everything into gold and achieving infinite wealth. But let us pause and think. Why gold? Why not silver, copper, or platinum? Was the alchemist's obsession with this metal merely about its market value? No. This was not about economics. This was about thermodynamics. This was about entropy. Let us look at one of the most fundamental laws of the universe. The second law of thermodynamics. It tells us that everything in the universe moves toward disorder, decay, and destruction over time. We call this entropy. Look around you. Even the strongest iron door eventually rusts and decays. Shiny copper oxidizes and turns green. Silver tarnishes. Food spoils. Buildings age. And humans grow old, fall ill, and everything in nature bears the destructive fingerprint of time. Everything is doomed to mortality. Everything except one thing: gold. Gold is the only metal that defies this ruthless law of nature. It does not rust, even after lying beneath damp soil for thousands of years. It does not dissolve in acids. It does not darken in fire. It never loses its brilliance, purity, or essence. It is the immortal king of the periodic table. For alchemists, gold was not a currency. It was the most perfect, most divine form matter could achieve. In their eyes, lead, iron, and copper were sick metals, imperfect, mortal, unfinished beings. To them, lead was simply gold that had not yet matured. If you could leave that lead beneath the earth for millions more years, it would grow, develop, and eventually become gold. And the alchemist said, "I cannot wait that long. I will accelerate time in my laboratory. I will complete the work that nature left unfinished. I will heal these sick metals." This mindset is, in fact, the foundation of modern medicine. Just as a doctor heals a sick body and restores it to health, the alchemist sought to heal sick metals and restore them to perfection. That is why the art of alchemy was called the Great Work, the Magnum Opus. And for this healing process, they needed a legendary substance, the philosopher's stone, lapis philosophorum. This stone was not a magical rock as depicted in films. It was believed to be a red, immensely powerful powder, a catalyst that could penetrate the essence of matter, cleanse its inner sickness, and reorganize its molecular structure. The belief was this: the stone was so powerful that it could do more than heal metals. If one could produce a very special liquid from it, an elixir, the elixir of life, then the human body could be saved from decay just like gold. Aging could be halted, diseases erased, and perhaps death itself could be defeated. Alchemy was, in essence, humanity's first and greatest scientific war against time and death. So after centuries of effort, fortunes spent, lives lost among toxic fumes, what was the result? Did they succeed? If you consult history books, the answer is a resounding no. Alchemy is considered a scientific failure. We dismiss them as dreamers. But when we look closely, their problem was not that they were dreamers. Their tragedy lay somewhere far more technical, far deeper. The alchemists' mistake was this. They were searching for the right thing in the wrong place. What they were trying to achieve is what we today call transmutation, elemental transformation, taking one element and turning it into an entirely different one, turning lead into gold. Thanks to modern atomic physics, we now know that an element's identity is determined not by its clothes, but by its heart, the number of protons in its nucleus. Lead has 82 protons in its heart. Gold has 79. To turn lead into gold, you would need to descend into the atom's core and forcibly remove 3 protons. This was the wall the alchemists crashed into. This is not a chemical process. Chemistry deals only with electrons in an atom's outer shell. By lighting fires, pouring acids, or distilling substances, you can move electrons. But touching the nucleus, changing the number of protons, that is nuclear physics. It requires enormous energy, the kind of violence that occurs in the hearts of stars. With weak candle flames, coal furnaces, and glass bottles, the alchemists were trying to perform a task that required a nuclear reactor. They were trying to split an atomic nucleus with a hammer. Yet that hammer could only chip away the paint. Their methods were wrong. Their energy levels were insufficient. Their technology lagged thousands of years behind their dreams. You cannot change a building's foundation by repainting its exterior. This was the tragedy of the alchemists. They were geniuses searching for nuclear physics inside a chemistry lab. The alchemists failed, at least when it came to gold, or so we think. Perhaps they never found the philosopher's stone. Perhaps they never turned lead into gold. But in those laboratories, amid those desperate experiments, they accidentally discovered something far more important. While searching for gold, they discovered phosphorus. While seeking immortality, they discovered gunpowder. They uncovered porcelain, which they called white gold. They set out with faulty maps and discovered entirely new continents. Many of the elements that built our modern world owe their discovery to the stubborn persistence of those men we dismiss as magicians. And do you know the most unsettling part? Even the most rational, mathematical, scientific mind in history fell under this spell. The founder of the mechanical universe, the man who discovered the laws of gravity, the father of modern physics, Isaac Newton. We know him as a scientist beneath an apple tree, working with formulas. But when Newton died, The thousands of pages found in a secret chest in his room were neither about physics nor mathematics. Newton had secretly devoted 30 years of his life, hiding it from the church and academia, to solving alchemical formulas. Why did the smartest man in the world believe in this superstition? Or was Newton trying to solve a secret beyond physics, one we still do not understand? Was the man who discovered gravity actually searching for the philosopher's stone? The answer to this question is one of the greatest mysteries in the history of science. In the next video, we will open Isaac Newton's secret chest and meet the unknown alchemical face of history's greatest genius, the last magician. See you soon.